Okay, well, we got the fog here again. And I tried to clean off the little thing. I was like, well, maybe the little camera is dirty. Didn't make a difference, so I don't know. I tried moving it around and it just kept being there, so I don't know what the hell. It's like, this world is so crazy. But let's look at my hair. So this is what it is now. This is like the most, this must be the very first part that turns or something. This is the last little bit. But it's so strong. Even though it looks so much lighter in the mirror, it still, you know, stands out from the other hair. Even though it's not as dramatic as this camera makes it look. But anyways, it still has the white stripe. So, I think, I don't know, this is like the other parts that turn so much faster. This part, you know, it's been white longer. It was turning white. It was going fast. So all that part went fast back. But this part has been white way longer. I have had this little stripe thing here for a long time. So, I don't know, maybe it's going to take all week. Maybe it'll take 2 weeks. I don't know. We'll see until it's just all the way this color. But I haven't been able to do some things like pull my hair back without it all being white. So it's just trippy. Yesterday I thought, well, I'm going to wash my hair with the apple cider vinegar. And I still just don't have good luck with it. I don't know, or maybe it's just something you got used to. Maybe it's something with the texture of your hair, but it always makes my hair look like really oily looking. So I don't know, it's weird. So I don't know, it's something you have to get used to. I'm not madly in love with those shampoo bar things either, because I got the castor oil and the rice water conditioner or whatever. And I don't really, I'm not in love with those. I'm going to be excited when we start having some of these people who have been working on all that stuff, all these herbalists and stuff, and develop like more natural products so we could start, you know, supporting those people and buying stuff that's better for us. And, I know it's dripping. Like, God, I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of the cold. Everybody is getting really burnt out on the cold, too. That is something that's really getting to people, is the cold. And it is so fucking miserable. And it's going to be worse. Like, today is supposed to be this huge storm coming in, and our girl is stuck. Like, it is the biggest fucking ordeal. From the first fucking bus she missed, this trip is the biggest ordeal. But I knew it was going to be. I mean, I have said this like how many times. Like, I can't believe people keep going out and traveling. But, you know, this one makes sense. Like, you're getting to your family. Even though, to me, like, it's multi-layered. Because, to me, California is a fucking hot zone. California is on the chopping block. And so it's, you know, and I have family there, too. And I don't know what drama is going to go on. And, you know, how, if people are going to be evacuated. Like, I have no idea, you know. But that's where her family is. And her family that's been looking for her since she was little. And the system just fucked them both. It's just like, oh my God. Stuff with this system. It's just some bullshit, man. Some absolute bullshit. And the mom did totally just kidnap her, like, out of the relationship when she was like 2 or something. Like, the dad was in jail, the mom did some, I don't even know what the hell, I don't remember the whole drama story, but then she kidnapped her and took her and disappeared her, and they didn't know where she was, and he'd been looking for her to the point where, you know, he's turned to substance abuse, and anyways, but she's got this big family. You know, because she's got siblings, she's got aunts and uncles, she's got a boy. It's just like, oh my gosh, that is so like, is there so much issues with this other side of the family that you know, is like, the other side of the coin. It's just like, oh, it's so exciting. So how can you sit there and say, you know, no, you got to go where, that's why each soul's got to go where it's supposed to go. It's got to know. It's got to have that drive inside of itself and be directed by itself to know. And, you know, and she got into that facility that's down like right next to her house. I mean, everything was going into alignment, but I knew the trip was going to be rotten because I had been watching on TikTok all of these people, like you see videos of people out trapped and stuff all the time. Trapped in airports, trapped on the road. You see wreck after wreck. You see like all this kind of stuff. And so, in the problems with every single thing, but it's all stuff I was expecting. It's all stuff I've been saying, is that everything in the system is going to fall apart, and everything that we use to rely, even traveling. If we rely on them to travel, then we're at their hands. You know, anything you have to do with any part of the system, and then since they own every motherfucking thing, it's like, find a way to get around without having to rely on them. Even if you have to drive your car, you gotta get gas. You gotta get like, and it's just shenanigans, but it's the shenanigans you're supposed to encounter. Like, it's your shenanigans, it's your story, it's your chapter. And so it's, you know, it's what you're supposed to encounter so that you go through it and grow through it and learn from it. And it's a part of you. It's a part of your story. It's part of seeing what you're made of. So it's, you know, it's all occurs the way it's supposed to occur. Even when things are going the worst. Even when things are like just ringing your fucking, you know, just, oh, God, oh, you know, the whole thing. Because I do that. Oh, my God, I do it. Like, I'll be like, God damn it, like, fucking shit. Like, what the fuck? You know? But if that's how I feel, why would I pretend like I don't feel like that? Like, that's my honest, real feeling. It's a fucking bullshit. So why wouldn't I be honest? But, you know, you gotta move through that. You can't stay there. You can't let it wreck your day. You gotta, you know, and like as soon as I'll feel something, I know it's just a ride I gotta get through. It's not something to be stuck. I've got all the self-talk, you know, telling myself like, I have all the talking myself through it, getting myself out of it so that I can stroll through the emotional roller coaster like fast. Like you know, I'm not gonna let it ruin, you know, days or something. You know, it may stress me out like on my drive home, I may be cussing and crying, but then it's out of me and then let go of it. And I've moved through it. I've let them know what I think about this. And they've let me know, well, you know, it's out of your hands. Like, this stuff happens. Like, deal with it. Grow the fuck up, girl. I was like, okay, I'm trying. It's not that easy. This is hard stuff, man. And so, anyways, so I knew there was going to be problems because I've been witnessing it. I've been observing all these problems and people, what is going on and all different things. That's like a big reason why I didn't jump on like, oh, I'm just going to go sell my house, because the banks, the fucking money, all of it is fucking, it's up in flames. And you're trying to just like, okay, well, if I scoot around here, do this. Or most people, it's just like, well, they have no idea. They're just focused on what they got to do. So they're not paying attention to everything else going on in the world. I don't have time to listen to what other people think. It's like, well, that's where you find out what's going on in the world. You go out and you listen to the people, what they're talking about, what's going on in the world. That's where you find the truth. I don't know where else you find it. You got people who, you know, that's the problem, though, with the people who make fake stories up. But I think a lot of those are plants. A lot of those people, like, it's paid programming. I just saw I don't think it was the whole thing, but somebody shared this long Stanley Kubrick interview, and it's just so wild, you know, the whole thing, how, because the moon, okay, so we try and figure out like where we are. And, you know, I was suspicious with a lot of things. Like the moon and the astronaut shit was pushed on us hard when I was a kid. Like I said, everything was astronaut food. Oh, look, we got Tang now. Look at that too. Like, oh God damn. Fucking just sell campaign. Get them on the artificial shit. We got to get them off the real food. Get them on the fake food. Call it astronaut food. They're going to the moon. We're doing this. We're getting $3 billion from these stupid motherfuckers. Oh my God damn. Fuck. Oh God damn. So anyways, they got us on the artificial food. But started on the astronaut food. My mom was all about that. Yeah, go get your astronaut food in there. I was like, is it food? What is this? I would ask her, what is this? It was like nougat or something. I don't even know. The texture, everything was so strange. The flavors were artificial. God. Oh my God. How can you not laugh when you look back at this shit? I don't see how. I mean, you're going to have, like, everybody's got to work through it. Like, there is a part of it, you know, you got to go through the stages. Like, there's the stages that you go through of realizing this fake fucking world and all the fucking lies and all the trickery and just how everybody fell for it. And it's just like, oh my God. Because I think the fucking map's a lie. I swear to God. When you see how these fucking storms and, you know, and how it's affecting her. So on her thing, on her journey, I'll tell you like a little brief. So we know we missed the bus. She gets on the bus. She gets to Portland. They cancel her bus. So there was no way out. So she was stuck in Portland. And at the same time, Portland was shut down in a big ice storm. And so they got her Airbnb. She got to the Airbnb. And then I kept seeing videos where they're like, fucking Portland's shut down. It's an ice rink and all this stuff. So I was saying, you know, you're better off just living at that place for a couple days until the storm passes. And just get the room for a few days. And then they're like, no, we already got her on a train. I was like, well, you better hurry and get her there early because they're saying the roads are all ice. And, you know, there's not going to be like Ubers and taxis and shit all out. And you got to keep in mind, too, like, she doesn't have ways to get around and get food in all these storms and shit. And so she got to the train station. The train station was packed. So everybody, because I know that there was tons of flights canceled, because I had also seen that they had been canceling flights and all over the place. Like, it doesn't matter how you're traveling right now. It's going to get interference because there's so many fucking huge, massive storms. And even if you try and drive, there's so many fucking huge pileups. Fucking huge pileups with these big-ass trucks. And it's like, I've seen more and more of these videos where people have been stuck on the road for like 8 hours sitting in these waiting them to be cleared. It's all on purpose. It's what people don't get. This is all on purpose. Just like they purposely were feeding us that shit. And they made a big giant campaign. Let's all go to the moon together. Let's all be astronauts together. And then everything's all about patriotism. They probably fucking just made up that goddamn bicentennial. There's no fucking telling what year it really is. It's all fucking made up. I swear to God, it's all fucking made up. Like, they fucking probably just wiped the people out in the fucking fires. Then they just, I don't know where they got the ones they brought. And then got some people from other places, some immigrants and stuff. Like, I don't know. This is just so full of bullshit and lies. And, you know, them lying about just, they're lying about our fucking globes spinning in space. You're telling me they're not lying about the landscape of the fucking place? That's probably one reason why it's going to fucking just be so dramatic so that we see. Like, I think some of us are way closer to each other than we think. I think that they make planes go on weird routes. I think that they just come up with schedules. I told you before, it wouldn't surprise me if they just go up there and just like shake us around in the air and then land. And it didn't even go that far. And even when you're driving, they can take you on a loop-de-loop and you're just looping around and you think you're going places. It's like, this place is not what people think. And I just saw, I don't know, I think she's a politician or some nonsense. And she's saying, you know, well, they're not aliens. They're interdimensional beings. It's like, that's what I've been saying. There's no alien. There's not monsters. There aren't this sold package of God, Satan, and these aliens. No, they're just all different beings from all around. And some of them are like right next to us in different dimensions. It's different stages of vibration. It's like all different stages of vibration. We're in a low stage of vibration to experience what we're experiencing. And being in a higher one, to be in a higher one, you can see you have to be higher of the mind. You can see that we have a lot of people who are either lower of the mind, or this is their remembering that they are higher of the mind, or they're learning to be higher of the mind. I don't know what all is playing out for every single person. There's a lot. This is a huge transformation. This is a huge transition, this ascension. And these are all words that, remember, that we are using. This is our language. And when anyone is trying to communicate to us, and they're trying to communicate, they will use language. They'll also use pictures. And it's like you just know. It's like you just know all of a sudden. It's like the voice of God has spoken in your head, and you just know. And so it isn't, the conversations aren't like having conversations with people. Like when you're in that world, when you're in communication with the other world, the other frequencies or whatever, you're bouncing around. It's like, you go to other like places. You go in other places, and then you have different experiences. You have things being shown to you. It's different. That's why, like, I can be totally there, and I just slip in there, like being alone all the time. It just is. Well, I never knew how easy it was for me until I got much older. I mean, I didn't even know I was channeling until I got much older, just like a few years ago. Through all of this awakening is when I realized that these beings and stuff, that how I lived was different than everybody else. I didn't know. I thought everybody, I didn't know. I didn't know everybody wasn't talking to these people all the time. Higher consciousness. But anyways, in school, it caused interference with me, because I think a lot of people go to school and it causes interference with them. But like the teacher would start talking, and I would just zone out. I would be, in hypnosis. I would be gone. I would be not in the room. And then the bell would ring, and everybody start getting up, and that would bring me back into the room. And I would always be like, what the fuck is going on? What happened? What, and I would always be lost. And my education thing was eye-opening in different ways than other people's. But, like, my experiences, like, were different than a lot of other people's with school. But, like, I could even just, a whole thing just about that. Because mine was different, like so many different things. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be different than everybody. There would be somebody out there. It just isn't like typical or average school experience. It's more of the, the oddball. And but on her trip, let me finish the trip thing, because I keep going back to that. So they get to the train station. Train station's packed. And then they delay the train. And so then they finally get on the train. Everybody's on the train, and they're going. And I'm going to sleep throughout this. So when I wake up, I look at the messages and stuff. And so this drama was going on just now. So it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. It just now got situated. She just now got to the hotel. So she's on the train, and then they weren't letting them eat. And I was like, what? Why won't they let them eat? And then the next message is, now they're turning the train around. They turned the train around and went back to Portland. So it was too horrible to go further through Northern California and stuff. It had to turn around and go back. And plus, I don't know how much more mountains and stuff they got to go through in Portland. You have to look at some fake-ass map. I don't know. Some of the maps, like you know that you're going to go through mountains because you go through mountains and stuff. Some of the things, but you still don't know if it's like we need a complete aerial view of things. We need to be able to see. And even when they're flying us into cities, even when you're in the airplanes and you're seeing, you still don't know. And obviously there's some shenanigans going on how they route, because when you go watch some flat earth documentaries about it, explains about the routing. And so there's weird shit. And so they turn around and come back to Portland, and now she got back, and so they got her hotel, and so she's at the hotel now. I was like, she should just stay there a couple days until it passes. And so she got the money back from the bus because it canceled. Then the train, she had to buy the train. Now the train is canceled, and so they should give her another ticket back. So it should still be on the same amount of money. But you got to add in all this extra hotels and food and Ubers and shit like that now. So it all adds on. And then I think, I don't know, there's such a drama on us containing and controlling us. Like it's such a part of their whole thing. And I don't know if they're trying to just create a lot of fear, or they're trying, I know they're trying to create a lot of fear. Definitely, they're trying to create a lot of fear. But even with the storms and stuff, like trying to create fear, because then the fear, even however, if they don't profit off of it, the other beings do, because they're still associated with these other beings. I don't know if they've got some like contracts or something with them. And that's who I think is always interfering, like causing problems and stuff around, so that to get you frustrated, you know, when you're doing stuff and it just like things keep falling and it just like all this stupid shit keeps happening. I think it's those, I don't know if they're called the Archon or whatever, like the dark energy. And all of the energy too is all states of consciousness. Not all energy is conscious. And like even you can see, even as human beings, that all stage of consciousness is like there's all different stages of consciousness. And so it's all stages of awareness. So it's not, because you know on that, like that plant study, think about that, like the plant, when he was monitoring it on that meter, that the plant would respond to something right before it happened. Like the plant would know what was going to happen. Like the plant sees on like a vibration, like an intention or something. The plant sees before, the plant feels, but that's its awareness. And a plant has awareness, like the plant, like I play the music all the time for the plants. I play it all the time for Stella too, but it just, you know, it's, but there is, you know, everything with energy, but that doesn't mean like, you know, like my kombucha, my mother, you know, and I'm getting all stressed. Like I still feel like a murderer. Like it's weird. It's weird how we get things in our head. But, you know, I mean, it probably doesn't have the state of consciousness that I'm consuming it. Oh, the whole thing sounds sickening. I don't know, think about that. But like a lamp, it doesn't mean it has a state of consciousness that it knows like you're turning it off or you're turning on or you're moving it here, you're moving it there. I think it picks up like on a vibration of you, what you put into it too. And so it's how much you care about it or whatever picks up that vibration. And so it's like an energy, but not all states of energy are conscious in the same abilities, but everything is alive. Everything is like shivering with life. It's like movement. It's all energy, but it's like all forms of energy in all states of consciousness. And so, you know, we're energy that has formed an identity. So we have created an identity for ourselves, but it's not just one identity. We've gone out and we've created a world so that we can go out and experience multiple identities, to experience multiple experiences. You know, and I think that that shows how important that is even to a person's soul when they say, you know, your one and only life. This is it. This is your one and only. You know, what a stressful concept that is. Like, what if I make a mistake? Well, you probably will. That's why you do it a lot of times, because you got to go back and you do it over and over and over and over and over and try it in all different ways so that you can become good at it, you know, because then you can get to these parts where your consciousness is so developed it goes, you know, into the next level, the next step. And, you know, going into higher states of consciousness is about acceptance, and it's about compassion, you know, caring. And that's why, you know, in the higher states of consciousness, there isn't the pain and suffering. And that's why these, you know, these warring beings, you have to be in these lower places. But we, you know, like warriors, you know, how we look at ours like souls, don't look at themselves as like weak ass bitches. Like the people who forgot who they were look at themselves. They get inside the little glove and they feel like a weak ass bitch. And it's like, you came up with this storyline. This is what you wanted to do. Start remembering about that. And so, anyways, the states of consciousness as it evolves gets into a point where it wouldn't hurt others. It wouldn't take from others. It sees like the energy, you know, the energy is, you know, like I've said, it's one thing to become harmonious with the energy. And right now we have like all these, you know, this huge movement in witches and spells and controlling energy. Even all these people, these super spirits, you know, all about manifesting. It's all about controlling energy. And to me, it isn't about controlling energy and manipulating energy to do what you want. It is about going into harmony with energy, with the universe. And but see, those people who all live like that, they don't have the same concept of like destiny. And, you know, they're like, to me, they're like fighting life. They're fighting the world. They're fighting the universe's energy. They're trying to outpower it. But then you have all these lower beings that do that, you know, and they'll come in all different forms. I'm not saying all these different people who think they're witches now are all lower forms of consciousness or not that, lower vibrational beings that like to stay in dark places to try and outdo God or outdo, I don't know, I don't know, you know, it's just a taking. But see, you have to have, I mean, you wouldn't know you had a good if you didn't know what bad was. Like there has to be dark to know that there's light. So it's like it's like needed, just like how you need the AC and the DC to create the power. You need both sets of energy. So it's not like the people who are lower vibration, you know, stay down in these warring places and battle each other. It's like cosplay or something. It's not like, I mean, it's like real. Like really, it's serious business. Like it's not like, I mean, places get destroyed and stuff, but it's in the whole idea of things. In spiritual realm, it's more like a cosplay. It's more like, you know, none of it's real. It's all created. And so it is, it's weird because but think of like how it seems real to us. Like all this stuff seems real. But then when we go out of it, that we see that wasn't real. But the thing is with some of these lower vibration beings, is that they're in their soul form. So they are in their soul. You know, just like how there's all these people here. This is what's so kind of strange, because like you could take a Draco or a reptilian or, you know, some other being or whatever, and they aren't just they are like, it's like they are in their soul. It's like it's different. It's like they are their soul. It's like, you know how they can shapeshift, how they can make themselves look different and stuff, because it's like their soul can represent itself however it wants to, because it's like a higher state of, it's like a higher vibration, so it can make itself look how it wants. But there is this other world, you know, this darker world. Oh, when I said that, that light went out right then. I still can't figure out what the hell is wrong with that sunlight. It keeps going out and going out. But so if so there's this darker world, and then there's a lighter world. And in the lighter world, I think in the darker world, because both things are necessary. Like there's as many lessons and stuff in darkness as there is in the light. It's just different souls, vibrational tone, their harmonics or something. It's not it's like the color they are in the rainbow. It's not like, you know, the souls that are in the dark, that they are worse souls than the souls that are in the light. It's not accepted like that in the universe. It's like it's different realms though. Like you can't take, in a place where it's all of light, you can't just go and take the dark. But that is where this dark has broken through. You know, that's what reminds me of the Neverending Story. But that is where the dark has broken through into different realities in different places. You know, like in that one movie, which I still can't think of what it's called. Maybe it's called Interstellar. It is really cool because I think it shows good with the dimensions and stuff. And in this one part where this battle is going on, because these people are just like out on this island, and I think they're kind of bluish, and kind of like they're kind of villager kind of people, and they're just living, you know, this great life, and they're all happy and stuff. And then this war starts happening and busts through their sky, kind of like how our sky seems to have something busting through it right now. And so it busts through and starts interfering with theirs. And so that kind of stuff has happened. You know, the dark has interfered, just like how here the dark has taken over. So the dark, when it gets out of balance, and there becomes a lot of dark. But see, when you go into the light, it isn't. But in the light, there's also where in the dark they don't understand. Like they see caring as weakness. Like, why would you care about these certain things? Because I like any of the things, you still go back to energy. You still go back to who you are. There's energy can't be destroyed. Even if you are in some reality and that reality gets destroyed, you still go back to yourself. So I don't know. They have a whole attitude of not caring and seeing that as weakness. And you got to think of it as a spectrum too. Because everything is filled in. Everything's filled in with us. Like if you can't see the bullshit that is going on in this world and start noticing that it is the people. Like they all get so focused, but the corporation, the bad people gave the people a place to see themselves, to see the dark inside of themselves. That's the dark inside of so many people, the greed, the lust, the anger, and living inside of so many people is what has corrupted our society so strongly. So it's not just, they gave us the field for it to grow. They gave us the, the fertilizer and whatnot, but it still is what's inside the people. Because there's a lot of us who would not screw somebody over for money. There's a lot of us who would not screw somebody over for, we would rather, help somebody than to watch somebody struggle and have pain. That to a lot of us is horrible, to watch people struggle. And it is a drive and a motivation that can be toxic to us. And so that's something that we have to get into balance. We have to find our strong side. And that can be challenging. You can be heavy in the light, and then you come into the dark. You got to find the balance. It's all of these different realms and stuff. And that is the thing too, is about, our sky opening and stuff like that, is like, because to me, the Kubrick thing just reinforced this whole thing about us being in this bubble. He said that they have not been able to get a rocket more than 400 miles. And how many rocket launches they have done this year to make sure that we see this? Like, I know there's a lot of people who haven't seen it and don't know there's been like 100 rocket launches this Bucky in 2023. They launched like 100 rockets, and they all went up and hit the firmament. And to me, I was like, they were trying to make sure people could see, like, we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. And then Kubrick interview comes out, like all these different things. Like there's so much stuff with the NASA and stuff, and the amount of money, I mean, how obscene. They wanted to get us all to give them all this money. And then the stuff that they've done with it. And then I guess somebody was showing the NASA parking lot, and they've got all these old vintage cars and trucks and everything. And they said, when do I need these? Maybe it's when, all of our because not just electric cars, but a lot of our cars need certain things. Like, they've done something different to cars, where cars used to be so simple. Like, when I was younger, the guys would be out working on their cars and, changing parts out. The cars were simple, and they were heavy duty. They were cool looking. Like, there was a lot of different things. And then all of a sudden they switched it, and it all came from Japan. I remember when it started being, and they started selling these Japanese cars, but already manufacturing had already started changing. They had already started, I don't know, I'm sure it was the government who said something about they had to stop making them out of metal, probably for safety reasons or something. There's no telling. Oh, well, that will ruin the road. Who knows what the fuck? They just do this shit all the time. It's just nonstop. What they want it to be, they make it. And that is being so clear too. Like, Joe's just, I'm just not going to talk to Congress about it. I'm just going to go ahead and, go ahead, shoot that missile. Like, yeah. They're trying to make it clear to us. Oh, yeah, and Trump, I guess, did a rally or something yesterday, and made a big whole thing about wearing a white hat. So he wore a white hat. So there was people like, oh, shit's going off. But I mean, it's clear it's been going off the whole time. Like, there's arrests nonstop. There is the people who are on the government. But it's like, this is their ride. This is their letdown. This is where they have to see it all blow up in their face. It's like, you guys haven't caught on yet. Like, the amount of cheating and stuff, like, it's like, so they're going to go along for some wild ride. Mr. Toe's wild government ride is going to go on for them. But, all this stuff is already going down. Like, arrests and leaked information nonstop. It's all going to flip everything upside down. The medical, the banking, everything in everybody's lives is going to flip upside down. And, none of us know, how it's going to affect us. We don't know. Like, I don't know. I still don't know, what's going to happen with my house. It's like, I'm still waiting for the banks to hurry up and fucking crash, and the governments and shit start being arrested, or judicial or whatever. And they are. I mean, I see it all the time. You see somebody sharing their local news, and the judges are getting arrested, and lawyers, CPS, realtors stepping down, like, all sorts of stuff is going on, because they're all involved in corruption. It's all so seedy. all the stuff that people have done, you know, where they've signed their names and what they've done in order to get ahead. You know, how did it turn into doctors getting rich? Like, you know, when did that occur? That wasn't what it was like before. Doctors didn't have a lot of money, and they worked hard and long hours. They had to go to people's houses. They, you know, how did it all turn around into what it turned into? It was done because that was a surefire way that they could get control over us, get control of our health. They had to get control over the agriculture. They had to get control over our health, what we eat. Is that's the problems why everybody's so short on the minerals and stuff, because they've taken it out of the food and the soil. It's not just our food. The soil has been corrupted. So we've got, you know, it's like their whole realm. They fucked up their realm. They fucked up their space trying to consume us. And there's this footage just now too. I had just seen, it was one of these morning show things. I think it's Steve Harvey's show. And this woman is on there showing him about Oprah's products. They're talking about how great Oprah's skin is. So of course that was back on Oprah in the news. And talking about, but it's the same as what was Sandra Bullock on Ellen's show, you know. Oh, it's just baby foreskin. And when Steve heard what it was, he was just like grossed out. It's like, the thing that's gross is they act like that this is all done like on a legit thing. Like, why would you be cutting something off of somebody, smishing it up and putting it on your face to keep yourself young? And besides that fact, we know that you don't just put it on externally. We know what you're taking in internally. The consumption of others' energy, the consumption of others' life force. And, you know, the amount of stuff coming out right now about the missing parts, I don't know where this is all going. Like, is that a part of the contracts with some of these beings, like that they have to give our, you know, is that like something with the reptilians or something like that? But, you know, when is that all going to go? Like, when is the White Hat's going to stop some of this stuff? Like, I think, you know, especially when I see as all this, he's heating up on the government and stuff, and seeing like all these groups, there's so many groups. You think they're awake. Spiritual people think they're totally awake. The fucking, these people on the government shit, like the vote, you know, all that shit, they think they're totally awake. The people, like, there's all these groups who think that they're totally awake. It's like, you're only awake to that. You're only awake to that. Like, you're not awake to the truth. If you're awake to the truth, this stuff wouldn't affect you the way it's affecting you. But see, that's the thing, is that all those things have to occur. All those pieces have to play out. All those parts have to play. All those roles have to be filled. Like, every person who's playing these roles, all are doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's not like they're doing it wrong. It's just when everything flips the other direction, it's going to feel different. And that's where you got to overcome your feelings. Like, it's going to feel so different when everything turns the other direction. And, you know, when you really take notice of how many people are still so locked in, because that's what this, you know, caucus and shit is showing me, is all these people who are talking about it, you know, just talking about all this stuff and how locked in they are to it all. So, and how many people, like the religious people, and then you got these people who are waking up and they run to Jesus and like all this stuff. It just shows me that whatever is about to go down, to flip it the other way, is going to be dramatic. Like, it's going to be dramatic. Just look at the buildup. So it's going to be dramatic, but I think it's going to be like a force, but then I think it's going to go fast. Like, I don't think that we're going to, you know, have to crash and be at the site for 2 days waiting for someone to come pick us up, drowning in the water or something. I think it's going to be like a fast, like thing. And it really seems like they're really building up on the, the nude thing. Like that's going to be the big scare. Back to that Hawaii moment. Like, you got 10 minutes to live. Like that 10 minutes. And then especially if they hit with an EMP or something at that time and everything goes out and people are cut off and they have to, it will be the scariest time. If you don't know God, like where all these people get to know Jesus, find Jesus, repent, get Jesus and all that stuff. If you don't know God in your heart, if you don't feel your soul, if you don't feel your connection to the universe, to everything else, then that is going to be very scary. And that is where, it is real scary. You're a lot more open and to your communication so that they can reach you. So your guides can get a hold of your soul and they wake up, listen. And so it's going to be, I think there's going to be a real come to your knees, that come to Jesus moment. It's going to be dramatic. Just because look at how they just keep these people just whipping them around with this shit. It's wild. Like, jump ship. But no, I don't. So ship's going to have to fucking hit into a glacier and flip over itself. Maybe that's why we've heard so much talk about Titanic too. It's because it's like energetically that's what it's going to be. It's gonna, but it's gonna be like, like the real Titanic wasn't ever even crashed. Like all those stories are made up. Our fucking whole world is made up. Everything. And so if it is this firmament, if we're in this bubble, like I said, like the space globe thing, and we have these faces looking in at us and all these footages, like there's some creepy ass shit. There's one lady, this footage is going around. Like I keep seeing this one. So this lady captured, and this is where it's like, fuck, you don't know if somebody just made this up or something and did CGI or put out a Halloween thing or something. And so she said all this stuff was disappearing at her house. Her dog disappeared. Her cat disappeared. She was having things disappear in the yard. The neighbor's dog disappeared. And then her camera, one of her security cameras, caught this footage of this creature. It looks like a humanoid, creepy creature. It's like living off her land or something. If it's real, it is what people would think of, like, oh, that's an alien or something. They're all in different dimensions. There isn't just this space. It's like hard to get people, I think, it's like recapturing your whole mind and flipping it into a different reality. Space isn't like that. We're not like traveling through space. It's dimensions, it's vibrations, it's realities and realms. And so it's like there's all these different things that are near us, right around us. There's things that we have no awareness of. Just like I've said, there's always been these beings living in the forests and stuff. There's always been beings living in the mountains. There's beings that live like right in our same space that we don't even know. That's how people can just all of a sudden flip and be in a different reality. Like a lot of people have these weird, creepy stories. You can look at them on Reddit, unless people just sit and make them up. I'm sure that there is some, where they're driving and all of a sudden they're in a different place. And even the one I was just telling that I had heard those guys saying that we're on the work truck and then they stopped and got gas and their gas was being weird. The guy was weird. Everything was weird at their whole thing. It was just a whole weird situation. And then once their truck wouldn't go anymore and they got it to the shop, and the shop guy was working on it, and he said that it was gas from World War II. He's like, where'd you get this gas? This isn't even normal gas. This is some concoction they made back in World War II. I don't remember what it was, but it was different. Like, we don't make it the same. Because they were trying to, at the time, everything is manipulation. At the time, they were trying to spread their resources. But this is what they do. I mean, they create these wars. It's all just about control. And it's all just about keeping us on our toes and on edge and scared. And then they've seen how they can profit off of that through pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. People just become handicapped. They become dependent. They lose faith in themselves and gain faith in a system that has nothing but it has nothing but it's like it wants to, just consume you and take you. It doesn't care about you. It's nothing. It's just taking your energy. But you see, you have to recognize somebody is taking something from you. That's where you have to have boundaries. That's why we have such a messed up society. Is people don't have boundaries. They just go around trying to please other people, and then they get mad when they can't. They get their feelings hurt when people aren't there. Like everything is so toxic in all of our behaviors and stuff. It's a development that we all did into a toxic. We've created a toxic reality, and we've all accepted it. Well, until you stop accepting it. Once you stop accepting it, then you start creating change, and you creating changes the world. It's like that butterfly effect. Each person that creates change in their own life creates the change in the whole world. And that is why all these different parts have to play out. It's like, it's weird because we're it's like looking back at what is about to happen. It has to happen the way it's going to happen. You can't change it. These parts all have to play out. These are all these people's lessons. So everything has to play out the way it's going to play out. And so all the people, nobody's making a mistake. There's a lot of people are going to feel like that they made a mistake. They should have. They should have known this sooner. They should have woke up sooner. They should have seen it. How this person that they thought was such an idiot, how'd you see it before me? I'm so fucking smart and you're so stupid. That is going to really play on people, see? And people don't realize their biases. They have to be shown them. They have to see them for themselves. And it's going to be such a painful time because the biases inside of people that they're unaware of, especially in this social justice community, where everybody's trying to act like they're better than everybody else and that they're the good people, and deciding what is the cause that they all are good people about. And it's all just this whipping them around. It's an emotional roller coaster that is created by these other people in their realm. Like this is their snow globe. It's like we came into their snow globe to take on this game. Let's see what happens. Let's see what we can do with it. And so people come into it. It's hard and challenging. And then there's something still about when you get stuff out of balance, you have to come back into it to put it in balance. And that's where people get into these traps, where it's like you are in this reincarnation trap. Like you have to keep coming back in to fix your stuff. And that's why a lot of people are in the higher dimensions. They don't want to come down here. They don't want to come in and be birthed into earth. But the people who have gone through these earth cycles, then they are going to be up with respect by the Galactic Federate, the upper class of higher beings, because of the complication and the complexity of going through it and being able to find your balance and being able to pull yourself back into balance. Because there is so much with karmic debt, and there's so much where people just don't remember who they are, and they do shitty things. They do shitty things to people, and then you are bound through getting things back into balance. And it's weird because it is, because you think, well, why would somebody go in and do that life? Why would somebody go and do a life like that? But it is, I think it's multiple answers. I think it's kind of complicated because it is and for one thing, I think it's been going on for so long. It goes so far back that, and I don't think it's like you have to do it right then. It's not like you have to be birthed and then you come out, you've got shit out of balance, you just got to go right back or something. I don't think you have to do that. It is more of but you're bound. It's like you're held back. It's like you can't, it holds you back somehow. And so that's why you have to go in and put things back into balance. But it's like the reason people do them is like it's like it's rebalancing, and it's part of like the soul structure. It's like a part of why we exist, what we do. It's like it's like the it's like the creation of everything. It's like we create the realities, we create the realms. And yeah, when there's a pocket of darkness that holds, and you go in there, then it's going to get on you. And you have to keep going back in to get it off of you. And that is like this ascension out of hell. But this isn't the only pocket either. There's other pockets of darkness, because even these beings that go around they're always going and looking for places to, and I'm sure that there's a lot of different places, like Earth, that have been taken, and like there's way, way more souls and way, way more realities than I think people understand. Like to me, it always just seems like, just think about how many dreams you've had just in this one life. How many dreams every night you have. Like that shows you like how many realities. There's just reality after reality after reality. It's just the expansion of the universe. And it's why it moves like through the ages. Age is probably a lot more of like, well, this is how long it takes to get through that movement. And then it goes into another and another, because it's always in this movement. But in all of those ages are all different experiences. They're different possibilities. They're different ways to go out and experience yourself. And so, it's like an amusement park, and a new ride is opening. And everybody wants to, see what the new ride is like. And, but there is a lot of higher beings, and they could have been the beginning, they could have been the start of all of it. Maybe they were the ones battling the dark in the beginning to break free, to create the light. But there's a lot of light that doesn't go into the dark. They don't go back and go into the dark. It's like all different souls, just like how we're seeing this stuff play out. And it's all different souls. It's all different motivations. It's all different perspectives. Even when you hear people talking about what they think is going on, it's all different perspectives. Like it's all so many different things. It's just trippy too when you listen to the religious people, how they get so caught up in like the demons and angels and all that stuff, and Jesus. We're all waiting for Jesus. And then you have these other ones talking about the Antichrist is going to be shown, and I don't know. There's just so many different things, I mean, there's people who just focus on the Nibiru, and just focus on, there's all different things, everybody's waiting. I just think, there's going to be a lot of different stuff that's going to go on. Like we're definitely going to go into contact with galactic beings, and people are going to realize, that what this place is and what they are. Like there's a whole spectrum of realization. It's like a slow impact. It's like coming to your senses. It's like the turning the lights on thing is like a slap to someone who's sleeping. Like slap them and get them to come to their senses or something. That's what the universe is going to do. It's going to be like this big, wake up. And it's just going to be so dramatic, because there's just like so many people who just don't understand so many things about this. They're just so programmed, so indoctrinated into this fake world. And the movie, I forgot to say anything about that movie I watched the other day. It was just weird. It was on, I think this channel is called Silver Screens. And it was a movie they just put on. I can't remember what it's called now. Turmoil or Trouble or something. And it had Portia Del Rossi or whatever her name is, and who was the guy? Dean Cain. And but the premise behind the movie was what was creepy, which I thought, this is just more like disclosure stuff to me. Is there's these really rich old people in New York, and they owned a building, and they would, I don't know, they would do research. They would find people that didn't have family, that were just like orphans or something, and then they would mug them, and then they would get them to come and move into their building, and then they would kill them and take their life force. These people were like way over 100. They looked old. It wasn't like they would get them and then all of a sudden they would become younger, but it must be just how they stay alive. And so they just keep taking these people and using their life force to extend their life. It's just all these old, white, rich New York people. And then after this one group got busted because of all this big drama that went on, and then another one just was right there. So it was like, that's just like what this place is like. And, you know, and they're all like vampires. They're all just living off of other people, all the parts. Like, somebody's using all these parts. I don't think it's all of us. I don't think so. I don't think the black market parts are used in hospital setting unless it is used for somebody who is like, you know, name starts with an R. Like, I don't think, you know, if you're a Rothschild or you're a Rockefeller, maybe you can get somebody to go out there and, you know, well, I need this part. Well, we don't have that. Well, just go out and find somebody on the street and get it. You know, those people. But regular Joe Schmo, and I saw in a movie a long while ago too, and it was about, you know, organ stuff, and it did have that moral thing, because they're always pushing that stuff, and the moral thing was, you know, somebody approached them, and it was, I think it was their kid, and they needed something, I don't know, kidney probably, and so they put him through this, like, well, we'll go and, you know, do what I just said. We'll go get you a part. We'll make sure you get that part, but you got to pay us. So they did have that in a movie. And that was a long time ago. I saw that, like 20 years ago, at least. And so I don't know what. There's so much stuff that was disclosed, though, in movies. When you watch movies from the 80s and 90s, there's so much stuff that they were disclosing. There was a lot of espionage movies, a lot of government stuff, a lot of this stuff about there's a hidden group behind the scenes that is really in charge, all that, you know, and that is all true. In the hidden group behind the scenes, like I think vampire movies and stuff are disclosure on who they are, because they live off of us. They have, they hunt, like they go and get a whole bunch of them, little ones, and then put them out, and then they hunt them. They'll hunt adults too. They don't give a fuck. They'll hunt adults, they'll hunt kids, they don't give a shit. These people are weird, man. Well, I mean, we think they're weird because we're not of their species. Like, there's a lot of species around that live off other ones. Like, we're pretty creepy too. We live off of all these other species. I saw a guy talking about, like, he was probably one of the people who talk about vegan and stuff. But it seems like he was one of these people who talk about the toroidal field and the color spectrum and all that stuff. There's some really interesting videos by some of these guys. But this one was about the vibration and not eating the meat and stuff. And he said, you know, just like if they told you were really eating a pig's butt, would you go and eat it later? There's a lot of stuff where they, you know, they try and make it sound better than it is, but it's really getting us to eat all this dead flesh and making us sicker and sicker and sicker. And then even with that, you know, the pigs and stuff, how much parasites that they, like, if these people really cared about our health, pigs would be outlawed to eat. Like, we would not eat them. There's a reason why these other people who think that they're the chosen people, that they don't eat it. Is because it is so full of sickness. And when you hear some of these people do all these breakdowns on it, it's like, oh my gosh, like fuck. And all this is on purpose, you know, trying to make us just eat toxins and poisons and stuff all the time to make us sick. This place is like a giant lab. We're just all a bunch of giant petri dishes, and it's just so fake. Like I don't even think I think the moon's been moved. I heard that a while ago. The moon was being moved, and then you keep having these weird lights. Like people keep getting these weird things. Like the light starts flickering, then it goes out. There has been so much weird sky videos. There could be like all these colors going. Like there was one where it was like these colors were going all over, and then the lights just went out black and everything went dark. And then there was one, I think this is above Chicago last night. And hold on, my throat's really scratchy. That and it was the lights up in the sky, but it wasn't like the whole sky turning lit up. It was like, it looked like a spaceship up in the up in the clouds, and you can see the lights going. And there's gonna be more and more of that, and it doesn't mean they're coming from outer space. It is as I swear, it's more like we're in a giant ocean, and it's like all these different realms, and it's like all on vibration. It's just like a giant ocean. That's why there's so much beings in the ocean. And I just saw a thing too, where it was saying that octopus, they think comes from another planet. That's why I was saying, I think octopus, there's other things around us that we think are native to here, but they really are beings that, as I saw this video yesterday, and it said there's beings that have come and brought beings here to see, like, you know, if they flew a bunch of, you know, if they on their planet, they're octopuses or whatever, however they live or whatever, and then they came and brought them here to see, you know, if they could start being here too or something. I saw somebody talking about that yesterday. Like, there's all these different beings here. You know, it could be like dolphins. The dolphins are super intelligent. And so, you know, dolphins could be from some other place. Like, I don't know. I don't know all the different things. I know this place is way different than what we have any idea of. And that we've been lied to and tricked the whole time to keep us small, to keep us controllable. And everybody's soul has to wake up to that so that they stop being controlled, so that they say, hey, you can't control me. I am you know, I'm a powerful being. I'm a soul. I'm eternal. You don't have control over me. You're not my dad. But they think that they're gods because they're in this competition. And that is like the darker, lower energy is always like trying to do this competition with nature or something. Like they're trying to do things like, you know, with science and stuff, like trying to make new beings, and but they've done it. I mean, human beings were created, and then people are saying they were created in their image. The Anunnaki created us in their image. But I also heard, though, that we have got all these different beings' DNA. Like there's a whole bunch of different DNA. That's why some of us are all like different. And then I think some of the beings that are here, that they've been here a long, long time. Like I think that there's some tribes and stuff. Like, I don't know, like there's natural people, and then there's the natural evolution of those people, and then there's other people that came from other places. Like there's just a lot going on here. There's a lot to wake up to realize. You know, it's just, to me, it's like you just got to keep thinking, this isn't what they told us. This isn't what they told us. We got to just let go. Everything you thought was true, and go with, you know, just opening your mind to possibilities and seeing how it all plays out, you know, because, you know, we'll see as things keep going. Things are going to keep being exposed, but I think it's going to be You know, it's going to be really eye-opening for a lot of people. Because it is, I heard somebody else explaining something, and I was like, just the way that they explain like manifesting and stuff and the timeline thing. And to me, your timeline, because even when you're on your best timeline, and you're going to, you know, you love yourself, and they're telling you like, okay, this is the journey, this is where we're going, see that place up there, that's where we're going. And you're like, okay, but how are we supposed to get there? They're like, don't listen, you sit back, we're gonna get you there, you gotta just trust us. And so you just do what we tell you, and as you go along, you'll see. And then, you know, and it's a struggle, as you go along, and they have to keep, you know, confirming to you and telling you, and it's like this game that you play. So you're on this journey that is going towards your best, but it is work. It's not just, it doesn't just happen. It's you evolving, you getting yourself to a place where you believe in yourself. And so you are going on that journey. You are having things come to force you, to create you to believe in yourself, to get your communication with yourself more fine-tuned, so that you can go on this journey. You know, it's like a lonely journey to oneself. And but when you're on it, you have to do a lot of this like self-talk and remind yourself you deserve things, and you know that those things do have relevance in that order for you to keep yourself on your best timeline, to keep yourself remembering that you deserve the things that it's not just a dangling a carrot. This is your life journey. But your life journey can be like, you know, like you may not understand it, especially when you start it. And you just got to keep trusting, you know, you got to stay in that trust with the universe, going towards your best version of yourself. The other timeline is when you don't trust and you are just in lessons, and it's a much more frustrating, where it's just like, you know, you don't get it. Why does this keep happening? Why does this keep happening? It's because you're being taught to connect and to learn to love yourself. So all of those lessons and those timelines all have relevance. And that's why when you jump over into the one where you believe in yourself, you got to continue to tell yourself you believe in yourself, because you can fall back into this not believing, not trusting, and going back into, and then you go back into, well, why don't you trust? Why don't you believe? And then you have information coming to you through, you know, if your guides are, if you're working right with your guides, they bring information to you all the time to help you along the way. But it's always chugging towards your goals, moving towards your manifestation. You're manifesting your life. You're manifesting your identity. You're manifesting, you know, who and what you are, by going into the direction of trust and faith and believing in yourself and taking action into things that you think seem crazy. Like I would have thought this seemed like the craziest thing in the whole wide world. I started YouTube, and it took a lot of like pressure from my guides, you know, and I kept, you know, I had even tried back in like 2018 or something. And it was like, oh my God, it was so awkward and so uncomfortable. I just sat there and critiqued myself the whole time. And even when I very first started it, you know, in 2021, because I started January 2021, this is going into my 4th year of doing this. And I was sit and critique myself and have a really hard time. Like I couldn't sit and look at myself when I very first started. That is the road to learning to love yourself. Like you go on this journey, and it takes you, you know, and you have to, you know, you continue, you know, that's the timelines to me. That's how I see them. And all these ways that people are like jumping, and in order to get your manifestation, you gotta tell yourself and stuff. But when you step back and you look at it, it's like, you gotta tell yourself all the time. You gotta remind yourself. You gotta give yourself value. But it is is it's like to keep your mind straight. It's to keep your mind from going back into like, oh, nothing's going to happen. No, I'm not worth it. I can't do what I'm supposed to do or any of that stuff. So it's like a personal challenge. It's like the two different ways you can look at life. You can look at life as that's out to get you, or it's like training you, like you're learning and growing, or it's out to defeat you because you're a rotten son of a bitch and you weren't in God's chosen group. So we didn't give a crap about you. So, it's all in how you perceive, what you believe, how you look at life. And so that is why I think, I'm supposed to be talking about it, is sharing about how I see it, how I look at it. It's because, whereas I thought all these people were living like me, and then I, wake up to find out like, no, everybody is living very different. They're cut off from themselves. They're way more concerned what others think of them than what their soul thinks of them. They'd rather please somebody else than please their own soul. And they're all living very dysfunctional and toxic lives because they're not living their truth. And so, there's all different people. Like, we're all going to, different people speak out about different ways of living, different ways of looking at things. Because it all does just have to do with just opening your mind, looking at things different, and breaking free from the mind control, breaking free from the programming. You've been programmed. So it's like no shame. But people are going to feel shame because of the things that they've done, the darkness that they foiled with, that they tampered with, that through life, because you can't hide from yourself. You can't trick anybody else. Like, you may be able to have other people think that, you're all upright and stuff, but in your own true heart, your truth, and that you can't get away from your truth. The judgment comes from within. People think like, you're projecting if you think that there's a God up there who's judging you. All the rest of the universe don't give a fuck. You are the one who judges you. The rest of the universe goes with the flow. There's the aspect of the challenging, but then it goes into the aspect of allowance. So, it's no matter where you are, you're not wrong. Whoever you are, whatever you are. The thing is that having the blindfold on and then having it off, but that's the challenge. That's the challenge in the game. Who are you? Do you remember who you are, even when you're blindfolded? So the people who, and it's in people's hearts. It's in people's hearts. Like, that's the part you can't get away from. Your heart knows if you forgot. Your heart knows, but that's where you just got to go deeper into yourself. And this whole thing is this journey to learn to not judge yourself, to be easier on yourself. Because judging yourself, and then you judge the people around you, you judge everybody you feel victimized by, you just become judgmental. You become hateful, judgmental, everyone's out to get you. So you've got to relieve yourself from judgment, relieve yourself from the pressure of having to please everybody else, and let yourself be, let yourself just be. Learn who you are, find out who you are. You could be, a great writer. You never had time to even pursue this aspect of yourself. You just got to just stop trying to force life. Stop trying to be something for everybody. Stop trying to be something for anybody. Start trying to figure out who you are, who you want to be. It's like when you're a little kid and they're like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a sailman, or what is that called? A sailor. Salesman. I was picturing a sailor. As I was saying a salesman, but somebody on a boat or something, all these things that kids want adventure and go out in the sea and fight pirates and stuff. I think we're getting back in touch with that side of ourselves, the side, of adventure and excitement. They've had people so scared and withering away dying and becoming decrepit, you know, rotting away. We're all rotting away. I mean, you got people rotting away, and they just put on makeup and wig, and, you know, it's like we're all fucking, this is a zombie world. We are on a zombie apocalypse. These people don't think for themselves. They hide from themselves because there's so much stuff that wouldn't be happening if people were in touch with themselves in the inside. That's what that's what the universe is about to do. That's what the big slap is all about. It's about the leveling you down to wake you up, to get you to realize, to remember. So that's what it's all going to be. You know, it's going to be dramatic. And it's got to be so close. It's got to be so close. You know, things are some kind of drama. I mean, seeing Trump standing there in that bright white hat, it did make me feel like, okay, is this a signal? Is something like, come on, let's have some shit go down this week. Maybe, but then again, see, like, fuck, if the banks go crash and shit, and then she's stuck in fucking Portland, and all these people, because that whole train was full, and all these people, there's gonna be people stuck everywhere. That's where it's gonna turn into a fucking nightmare for so many people. Like when the banks crash, and it's going to just come out of nowhere. It's just going to be like, bam. And, you know, and just like that guy who's in Mexico on his trip. He's like, you can't use dollars anywhere. Dollars have no value. And there's more and more going on. And then keep in mind, and all this drama that they keep saying with China and Russia and Iran and all, keep in mind who is signed on to BRICS. Because BRICS, you have to sign into a peace treaty. And I don't know if there's some sort of like, you know, clause in there like, well, the peace starts after everyone's on the thing. I don't know. But all of this is leading us into that, getting us on the peace treaty and giving us freedom. This is the battle with the bankers and all these institutions that have all been generated by these super rich people who are the ones that you link it back, going all the way back. You know, these old vampires that have been around for fucking ever. It's all links back to them. So it is, you know, all of these institutions that they created to control us. It has to all collapse. And it has to all be revealed. So while it's being revealed, so the people understand the reason why it has to collapse. And I keep trying to tell people and stuff like this has to. That there's so many people who, you know, they want to keep it together, and we got to, you know, what we can do and stuff. It's like, guys, this is all going to collapse. Everything that we have known is going to collapse. We're going into something new and different. This isn't an extension of that. This is a collapsing. This is a part of your soul to be able to let go of the past and move into the future. That transition, that evolution. That is what you are doing here. So everything that is from the past has to be let go of. And it has attachments to you. There's things that you have got attached to it that you've got to process, to let go of. You know, it's like recapturing yourself by letting go of all of the chains that bound you. You know, you got to let go of that to find your truth. And, you know, and it's a struggle. Like, there's people who didn't believe in things that carried on just because their family said, you know, and they, you know, didn't want to go against their family. Like, that's a lot that you have to overcome to finally, after 30, 40 years, to stand up and say, no, that's not what I believe. I don't believe that. And you've got to face the rejection, you know, and then maybe you are the catalyst to change. And you don't take the role, then what changes? You got to take that risk. See, that's the timeline where you got to take that risk. You got to believe in yourself. You got to do the self-talk so that you can create the change. And sometimes you are the catalyst. You know, we're not here just to play nice. We're here to play, to do it all, to experience it, to grow. And no matter what we experience, to overcome it, you know, to show life that we can overcome obstacles, that we can, you know, it's like that nature playing back. You know, these people want to play God. It's like nature playing back and showing, like, you know, whatever obstacle you put up, I can overcome it. Even with the people who think they're in karmic traps where they have to just keep going and going and going, I don't think their soul feels burdened. Like, they may feel burdened remembering all this in this life. It may be overwhelming and burdensome, but I don't think their soul feels burdened. I think their soul is like, you know, gets out and is like, they're in it. They're in for it. You know, as we got all levels. We're not all the same. We're all very unique. None of us are meant to be the same. We're meant to learn from each other. We're meant to learn to accept one another, to build on love, even where there's no love, that we create love. So, you know, it's us. We are the universe. We are all things. We are the magic, you know, and all these people have just got to remember. And then that is going to take us into a whole new level. And that's what's got everything shaken up. You know, it's the energy. It's the energy of remembering. It's the energy of what is that? Of the desire of change. It's the energy of, you know, acknowledgement of what you want. And you don't want to be abused anymore. That's like this action, the earth moving around, resettling, changing things up. And we're in that. And we're in that process. That's going on currently. And we're just the little things running around. So, you know, we want to be a part of it. You know, you got to be wise. You got to understand what's happening. Nature is making moves. And on top of it, you know, we're in this battle with the dark. It's like, yeah, but it is like what him wearing that white hat. It is, the light is come in. That's why the dark is being exposed. It's because everything's about to change. We could never go back to the way things were. And it's strange to think anybody could. It's all been exposed. There's some people haven't seen it all yet. But yeah, there's no going back. There's only going forward. And that's where we want to go. We want to go forward. We want to take the lessons we've learned and create the worlds that we want to live in. Because it's not going to just be one. There's not going to be just like one kind. There's going to be multiple. It's going to be like different realities and stuff. You're going to be able to travel around and go to different places and have different experiences. It's going to be super cool. That's for sure. But, you know, still, we got a ways to go. We got more challenges to go through. And then the big part, ouch, the big part is going to be the healing part. It's going to be after the awakening part. Like, there's going to be a lot of anger. We got a lot of anger that's got to be expressed. Like, just think about because this is like losing everything you believed in. So this is like a huge loss for people. Everything that they thought, everything they believed in is falling apart. And so they have to go through those 5 stages. And so we got to go through the angry part. We got to go through all these stages. So, you know, we got those things to go through. And I think that's what the white hats have tried to do is just kind of soften the blow. Like, try and get people to wake up to things, to soften the blow, because it's going to be so dramatic. And trying to reduce some of the anger and violence that will be coming. Because you got to remember, a lot of these people are going to be hitting into their anger when they are very disconnected from other people. They don't have a lot of compassion and empathy. They're just feeling their own pain. And their own pain is shrouded with shame and guilt and pressure. And it's like explosive times. So, you know, we still have that to go through. But just remember, we have a lot of good stuff coming. There's a lot of great, brilliant things that are up ahead for us. And we just have to allow the people to go through what they need to go through. And everybody has got all different things. Like, everything's got to play out. And there's like so much playing out. So, and then at the same time, all this shit's playing out. You know, you're battling storms and everything. So, you know, this is like, fuck, this is like when they started with this dark winter shit, it's like, okay, well, we thought that was fun. And then they just get worse and worse and worse. It's like, God damn, I sure hope this is our last winter. Let's just say that. We just hope this is our last winter. Like now we're going, the poles shifting, and we're going to go into a time of tropical and warm and love and serenity. So anyways, I've been talking long enough for this day, and so we'll see. Seems like I don't think I even covered all the things I was going to say. I never know. It's just like I start talking and it just like starts going, and it's like sometimes it's like, man, I didn't know I was going to be saying anything about that. Like what? So anyways, you know, it's just, I think big thing is right now is just to keep yourself focused and keep yourself in the understanding that there's more going on. This isn't, you know, the chaos they're trying to create isn't all of life. This is the explosive end of the reality that they created. And so, you know, and it's going to go out dramatically. There's going to be some drama. So, anyways, just, you got to keep staying safe and stay warm. And, you know, it sucks because I know a lot of people down south aren't at all prepared for, you know, I'm sure a lot of people even in Texas that last one, that they thought, oh, that's a fluke. What's the chances of that happening again? Probably a whole bunch more people freezing. Because even if you go get electric heaters and they turn off the power, I've already gotten an email yesterday and an email the day before from the electric company telling us to not use our power. And then I saw an email of somebody in like Alberta saying that they're getting emails saying they're turning off their power. That some places has had it turned off for hours. So, you know, and it's going on all over the place. And so, you know, there's people who are in these fucking frigid temperatures and they turn off the power, and the people have no fireplaces, they have no wood. The only thing I've seen that I know is like terracotta pots, and you put a candle in it, you light the candle and you put the empty terracotta pot over it, so the holes at the top, and those heat up and radiate heat. So the candle is enough to heat them up, and then it will radiate heat. But still, you have to minimize. Like, I'm not going, even my bathroom, which is only a few steps away, is so fucking cold. I even tried to put something on the toilet seat to warm it up. It's like, I put a towel on. I thought, well, maybe that would warm it up so when you sit down, you don't freeze. And I know, and I put a trash bag over the window and taped it. It's so fucking cold. And, but in the back rooms and stuff, forget about it. And so I keep seeing them right out here by the fireplace. But you do have to, in my house, it's only 650 square feet. And you do have to like limit your space, like get one room that you can keep warm. I saw somebody who was talking and trying to tell people, and they said, make sure you take in your food with you and stuff. Don't be opening and closing the doors. And they said use a lighter or a match and make sure to check your oxygen levels, because those won't work if you're getting reduced oxygen, because you got to make sure you keep the oxygen. So sometimes you have to open the door and get new oxygen in, but every time you open the door, you let more cold air in. And then also don't forget, you can also use a tent. If you have a room big enough in the house and you have a tent and you set your tent up in the house, you can stay in the tent and it will keep you warmer. And then she also said, as soon as the power goes out or anything, start putting blankets up everywhere. Put blankets up over your windows. Like if I sit on my couch, I can feel like wind blowing down by my feet. So like, you know, the part where your floor in your house is connected, it's like it needs to be caulked or something. I don't know. I can feel cold air coming through. And who knows, maybe it is that heater thing. I don't know. I can just feel cold air. But so, sorry. You need to try and block every single place that you can where there's cold air coming in. Cover all your windows and with blankets and stuff to try and insulate the house to keep it warm. So, and they're going to keep on doing this shit. Like this big storm that's supposed to come in today is supposed to last days. And Texas is supposed to be hit hard, which I'm sure a lot more places, which is obviously disrupting Oregon and California, because she can't get, for the train to turn around and go back, for the buses to be canceling. And my daughter's like, well, 'cause she doesn't have an ID. too. She's like, she has no ID, so she can't go on a plane. They won't let you on a plane without ID. Like, I mean, think about, like, how control, like, but you want to use anything in their system, you got to jump through their hoops. So, but even the planes, they're being grounded and shit. So, I don't know. I think, we're just at this weird time, and who knows what could happen. Anything could happen at any moment. And the power go out, like, ugh. The grid goes down and stuff, and I just can't even imagine being a young girl and being alone like that in a city and in a storm. And then if the power goes down or the bank stop, or, and how long she could be trapped there and stuff, like, and then how would your family even find you when there's no phone service? Like, fuck, man. Fuck. Like, fuck. There's going to be some scary shit that's going to go on for people. And I don't know. Like, we just got to see what this week brings. Just don't know. You just don't know everybody's soul story. Everybody's got their own, so we'll see. So just stay safe and, take care of yourself and, see what's next. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Talk to you later. Bye.